to begin today's Ohio State football report. As you may have heard, we did a community post on it after all, but it's our first video since. Three-star defensive tackle Jamir Perez has officially flipped from Florida to Ohio State. This one had long been expected. In fact, the commitment to Florida in the first place caught a lot of people off guard. The Glenville product joins his teammate Sincere Johnson as commits for the Ohio State Buckeyes. We'll break this down and some more recruiting updates here on today's show. Let's welcome Perez, though, to Ohio State. Type JP for me in the comments section of today's show. Perez is a three-star defensive tackle, a big boy. He's listed at around 340. I don't know if he's really quite 340, but because it's high school weights and they lie a lot, as it turns out. That's a pretty common trend, more than it maybe should be. Three-star recruit, though, 74th among the defensive linemen in the nation per the 24/7 Sports Composite. We'll see if that ebbs and flows. So 3 interior defensive line commits. We'll talk about the lone edge the Buckeyes have later on. As of right now, I think there is room for one more interior guy. Damari Simeon, who can kind of do some 5 technique, almost edge stuff. He's number 201, number 26 among defensive linemen. Cameron Brickle, who also committed recently, 538 overall, the number 62 ranked defensive lineman. And Jamir Perez, 679. Those guys getting bigger as you go. Like Simeon's kind of more like 270, 280-ish. We'll see what he actually checks in at for the Buckeyes. Brickle's just over 300. Perez listed about 30, 40 pounds heavier. So you kind of got different archetypes, different body types along that defensive line for Ohio State. So as things sit right now, the Buckeyes have 21 total commits. 2 of them are 5 stars. 14 are 4 stars. Make note, the Buckeyes are not done yet. They are 6th overall, so they've actually dropped a little bit. They were briefly number 2, and then have slid down to number 6 because Georgia and A&M and Notre Dame have huge classes. I guess I'll give credit where it's due. Alabama kind of cooking down south. They were like outside the top 20 at one point and have now skyrocketed all the way up. They were 30th, I believe you said there, producer Chris. Now number 5. Buckeyes still ahead of Michigan. Michigan could have jumped them. They lost a 5-star wide receiver to Syracuse in kind of a stunner over the weekend as well. Miami's 8, Clemson 9, and LSU number 10. High-quality class, but low volume there for the Tigers at number 10. So when it's all said and done, because we'll see what other chaos we get, if there are any flips. I know some of the On3 guys have hinted at a lot of fake cash could change August 1. We'll see. I don't think there's any fake cash for some of those top programs like Ohio State. So where will the Buckeyes finish in the 2026 recruiting rankings? Let me know in the comments, the pinned comment of today's show. I do want to get into one of the wilder recruiting sagas we've seen. So 5-star offensive tackle Felix Ojo, I think, had one of the most surprising commits that we're going to see in this year's class. He had announced, about 24 hours before he committed, his final 4: Texas, Ohio State, Michigan, Florida, but by all accounts, it was Texas and then Ohio State. Could the Buckeyes pull off an upset? Texas seemed likely to get him, though. And then instead, out of nowhere, he picked Texas Tech. There had been the late report from On3 of they put in the recruiting prediction machine for Texas Tech. Everyone's like, what? Because Felix Ojo did not list Texas Tech among his final 4 schools. He wasn't, they were not on there at all, and it was a big-time NIL/rev share offer of 3 years, $5.1, it's the up-to figure, $1 million. Tech was on it as final schools, and he came in out of nowhere to land Ojo. So for starters, look, good for him for getting the bag. You max out that money, that's life-changing, and I'm never going to shame a kid for getting money because a lot of times, this is their chance. But I also don't want to pretend that this isn't just money-related. Like, let's be serious here. The spin lately coming out of the recruiting, like, oh, he always loved Texas Tech. They were always in consideration. Like, but come on, that's fake. No, they weren't. They weren't in his top 4 that he posted less than 24 hours before. Like, what are we doing here? Like, we don't have to pretend this wasn't, 11th hour Godfather offer from an NIL perspective, which is fine. You know what? Maybe he can still make it to the NFL playing for Tech. That's not, I get it. I get these guys trying to secure their money. That's not a problem. Let's just not pretend that a school that wasn't in your Final Four actually was the pick all along and there wasn't a material change. Like, let's be serious here. Now, speaking of money, this Ohio State football called the Script Ohio t-shirt is on sale. Was 35 down to 24. It's actually less than 24, but I rounded up because it was like 79 cents or something, so I rounded. Chatsports.com/OSU script. I'll put the link in the comments section and the description of today's show. It's chatsports.com/OSU script. Let's move to a different offensive lineman here. Since the Buckeyes were always kind of a long shot, Felix Ojo, but so was Tech. JB Shabazz, I think elite name. I don't know, Shabazz for an offensive lineman just sounds super cool. He's going to commit on Friday with Ohio State among his finalists. It's the Buckeyes, South Carolina, and Tennessee as the final three. I think South Carolina is the favorite here, but I don't think you can totally write out Ohio State quite yet. The Buckeyes have room, I think, for really one more offensive lineman. They'd probably prefer a tackle, but I don't think it's going to be like, we'll settle for a 3-star. It's like they probably want to get someone who's a little bit better to bring that up to a 5-man class. Shabazz is number 320 overall in the class. That'd make him the number 3 offensive line recruit for the Buckeyes. Sam Greer, Maxwell Riley are a pair of 4 stars, number 7, number 8, respectively, at tackle. They're also both top 130, but out to the top 100. Tucker Smith, Aaron Thomas, a pair of 3-star offensive linemen. I also wouldn't worry too much about the positions, like it's high school to college. Like a lot of times those guys end up flipping around. But Shabazz is number 320 overall, 29th ranked offensive tackle, is out of North Carolina, by the way. We will have more Ohio State football coverage for you. Fall/summer camp is finally about a month away. I wish it were here sooner, make no mistake about it. We'll also have a bunch of recruiting updates as well, even as that begins to die down. So hit that sub button, youtube.com/GoBucks. Let's move to Kevin/KJ Ford. The 4-star edge will announce his commitment on July 11th. The Buckeyes are in his finalists. It's Florida, Texas A&M, and Ohio State. Maybe you give the slight edge to A&M, but I don't think this is necessarily set in stone either. As we'll get into, I don't like must-gets for recruiting. Like, it's the NIL era. You can always get a transfer, but boy, you really want to land Kevin Ford here. So is this a must-land for the Buckeyes? And we'll explain why in a little bit. But Y for yes, N for no. As of right now, the Buckeyes have 1 edge committed. Now, maybe they could find a flip, but a lot of their top targets are off the board / they're not really in the running, so they'd be playing kind of a crazy catch-up, and they don't want to be the NIL bag throwers of, like, the top-end guys. Like, they'll give money, but they don't want to spend crazy amounts like USC, like Texas Tech just did. So you miss on Ford, and boy, it's a pretty thin list. The one lone edge right now is Kahari Wilder, who's 242 overall, out of California, number 23rd ranked edge. If you could land Kevin Ford, that'd be the number 15th ranked edge. And 2, top 300 edges after, unfortunately, you just missed on a lot of your recruits, would be kind of a nice settlement there for Ford, and being able to rally and secure those 2 guys would be a big win. This is what Kevin Ford told On3 about his visit with Ohio State. He said, Coach Larry Johnson's been recruiting me for a while now. He's a lineman builder. I was up that last official visit to go there. He's got a lot of guys that have played under him. Look, the Buckeyes could use a win here. Ford was not necessarily one of their biggest and top early targets, but after all the misses that they've gone through, I know Jake Krull was not committed officially, but it sounds like Oklahoma. They've missed on some edges, and this is not a new thing. It's been kind of an issue for several years in a row now, and I think it does raise some red flags that they've missed on some edges, both in the transfer portal, and obviously they got Buckeyes, which was huge, and in the recruiting process. I don't know if they can pull off Kevin/KJ. I've seen both. Ford. I think it'd be a big deal for the Buckeyes to do it, help solidify an edge group that does feel a little bit shaky in terms of, in general, I'll go on a little bit of a tangent here. You don't always want to lean on the transfer portal. You're going to use it, but you want to have the situation set up where you have a good recruiting base, a young base of young guys you can give playing time to. You're going to lose some guys in the portal. That happens, but you don't want to be so thin that you're desperate at a spot. And I don't think the Buckeyes are there at edge right now, but I do worry about it a little bit.